The EarSauce podcast.
Did you guys ever use the Shubs website to book entry into clubs?
Yeah, I hate shops.
The thing
Yeah,
is,
rings a bell.
I looked at it today and it was like completely empty. There was like no Shubs. I wonder why.
Can't say too much on that one because it's a bit of a sticky one still.
Very sticky.
Yeah,
I feel like I've had this conversation before.
you definitely have. It
But-
feels like deja vu.
But I'm pretty sure that the reason why there's nothing there is because there's a certain virus in the air at the moment. But who knows?
How confusing there. Are you guys over lockdown yet? I feel over it.
No, I'm fine with it, man. It's done me good. It's done me good, man. I've managed to thrive during lockdown, so
I don't like commuting, so I'm not actually that bothered about lockdown. I mean, I have to be
See, I like
more on the
commuting.
weekend, but yeah.
I mean, for me, to be honest with you, it's been a really good year. And I know that sounds a bit strange, but in a way it has. So I think people focus on, because of the news, people focus a lot on the negatives, but we could have been making this time a bit more productive. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think a lot of people
Yep.
fell into a negative thought pattern, and I do blame the media for that. So
Well, when you put it that way, right, the reason why this podcast exists is due to the lockdown. You know, we probably wouldn't have. It was easier to get off the ground because of the fact that we all had a bit more time available to us due to the lockdown. So
yeah.
I'm just tired of the lack of interaction with your mates in person. Do you know what I mean? Like I think speaking to people virtually is one thing, but actually getting together and seeing each other. Do you know what I mean? I think that's.
Oh, absolutely, that would be the preference.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I heard that.
I'm looking forward to next summer for that because I feel like hopefully the restrictions will lessen and maybe we can go out and meet in public a little bit, you know?
It'd be a nice thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I miss spudding people. Just good old.
The only potato you like.
Oh no.
That was a good one.
I'm a spud connoisseur, but not in that kind. I should be a rapper, man. I'll drop bare gems.
Anywho, what's the new releases this week? I believe someone's got some hotels to talk about, and I saw an uncle of the murdering the beats.
Yeah, that was mad corny.
It is what it is.
And we got
is.
submitted some music to review as well, by Tomboxe. And yeah, I think we could just be talking about the culture.
Let's get it cracking then, guys. Let's get it cracking.
Should we start off with Uncle Murda?
Actually, before that, can we just warm up with a little subject here? Did y'all see Dr. Velli cleaning his stuff, his jewelry on the stove recently?
I just thought to myself, that was so weird. Why would you do that?
It was so strange.
I didn't see that. No.
Did you not? He just had I think he was boiling his chains and his jewelry and stuff
in a pot on the stove.
To clean it. You know, when you get dingy jewelry like silver, you need to polish it and stuff. He was cleaning
definitely don't polish jewelry like that. That is just bollocks. You don't.
Yeah, you just use a buffing machine.
I can only assume that was to get rid of the COVID, but that's not how you clean. That's not how you polish jewelry.
Well, I just thought it was funny for him to just pop up like that.
Yeah. As in, like, after all the controversy, this is like the first reappearance. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it was just random. He popped up in my feed cleaning his jewelry like nothing's happening, and people are still out here wanting to know what's going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've got a random one whilst we're talking about random subjects as well. Do you guys know who Chaka Bars is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this guy?
I thought he had like good quotes and like good posts on Instagram. That's like as far as my knowledge goes for him. Like he posts up thought-provoking posts.
Who is this?
Shaka bars on
On
Instagram.
one hand, he's someone that you look at and be like, oh man, I wish I could live life like him, like, just, like being
Yeah.
vegan and swinging from trees and being with the animals and shit. and on the other hand, he's a race baiter. So that's the way I see
Can
it.
you spell that for me, Shaka Bars?
It's Chaka, yeah. Chaka Buzz.
Like Shaka
I
Zulu.
think I remember when he first started, I thought, yeah, okay, this guy's like spreading a positive message about black empowerment. But then I think over the years, like more questions have arose from about him than answers. Like he speaks a lot about different charities, etc. But I never, and you're always asking people for money. And I do worry whether or not these people giving him money is to fund his own lifestyle,
It's not.
if that makes sense.
So he can take photos of himself, like running around in the jungle with a lion.
Exactly. And then he's always like eating fruits and that, like, and then when you look on his fruit website, like a box of fruits is like 80 quid.
What?
Yeah, it's
Are you
mad.
being serious?
It's
Well,
mad.
mate, how much do you think the food costs? You don't see how much it costs to put in one of those lunch boxes for the kids.
Bro,
It's
don't get
true.
me started on that. That is just
Yeah. I mean, that's typical Tory governing, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
that
it
is
is what it
bullshit.
is.
Their pals at that company are eating nicely.
Whenever I see a scandal like that comes out of the Tory government, I always go to Daily Mail to see if they've written up an article about it and what the comment section is saying.
I
And
do that as well.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. I refuse to give that website any clicks.
No, the reason I do it is to see
I
what the
get it.
rhetoric is on
I
the
get the
opposite
reason.
side, because you cannot, when people talk about these echo chambers and bubbles we live in, this is the problem. You have to go and see
I
what,
totally get it, but I'm just saying that
you know.
I'm not going to give my footfall, my traffic to that website because it
But
just
then
boosts
how
their
else will
numbers.
you know?
Because that's what they want. They want to infuriate people and make them feel away to push people to the website. It's clickbait.
Well,
So
well,
I'm not
anyway, I
gonna.
went to have a look at
It's
the
true.
comments. I went to see what they were saying. And it always astounds me how quickly and easily so many conservative right-wing people in this country, how quickly they are able to rationalize and justify this type of thing. So the top rated comments were, oh, look at these scroungers complaining about getting something for free. I mean, this is everybody's tax money that is going into this pot that is, then being so poorly spent. Like, it's criminal what they're doing with our money, but their focus was solely on, oh, well, they're getting something for free, the scroungers, and look, they're complaining, as opposed to looking at the fact that their own tax pounds were going to this rubbish. It just baffles me the way these people think completely.
Yes, but like they would never eat open tuna dispensed to them in a coin bag. That
in
for
a
me,
coin bag, bruv. That is
Imagine,
disgusting.
that was
imagine.
disgusting.
But one of the peppers I saw in one of the pictures was moldy, and like someone said that the bread that they got was frozen, and then once defrosted, it would have 2 days shelf life, and it's supposed to last 10 days. Some people got like 4 slices of bread. One person got like a fifth of a carrot. Like it's like I saw a quarter of an onion. It's just insane.
A quarter of an onion.
Yeah, legit quarter of an onion. Like they cut the produce up and just distribute it.
Oh my god.
Just,
Well, I don't know what
I'll
it's
send you
like that.
pictures,
They
but
gave them a portion of tuna. I haven't actually seen that picture yet. That's the thing. I'm
Yeah.
reading about it. I haven't seen it.
it's insane. Like
Look,
how can a fifth of a carrot feed a family for 10 days? Well, it's supposed to be for lunch, innit? Not lunch and dinner, but still, are you
the thing
supposed
that
to
pisses
have?
me off the most is why is it Rashford that has to step up don't we have like an opposition in the government that's meant to poke holes in on these things? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
because the reason why I worry about Rashford is if he continues in this way, they are gonna put the biggest target on his back.
Mm.
They're waiting for him
And
to fuck
with
up.
celebrities of that nature, it's not usually them that they'll try and get. They'll try and target like his family or any of his close people
Well,
just to try
they've
and
already
get
tried to do
dirt.
that. They've already tried to do it. Was it that he bought a house or something like that the other day, and they were like, "Oh, school meals, free school meals. Hero buys £1 million house for himself or stuff like that." And I'm just like, well, he's a millionaire. Why can't he do that? But
Yeah, exactly. Real quick though, one quick thing. I actually just looked at Shaka Bar's fruit thing. Man said $70 for a season sample box.
Someone has to tell me like the actual exact spelling, because is it this? Because there's one that's like Shaka Bars Live.
Nah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, thank you. I want to see these fruit boxes.
Bro, $70 for a sample is supposed to be 4 to 7 pounds of fruit. As in, that's weight. That's
Why?
like,
Why is it so special?
I don't
because
know.
it's
It's
Shaka
not.
Bars is
The
free.
thing is, Shaka Bars has this fan base that is similar to right wing conspiracy theories, but more on the left side, if that makes sense. Um,
Mm.
and they believe very similar things without realizing that they do. Like in the summer, he was blaming coronavirus on the 5Gs,
Mm.
and he was like, "Here's the
Oh, I
5Gs,"
think I
and
heard about this. Yeah.
yeah, and there was like this black female doctor who was speaking to him recently about it, and he was just like cussing her out, and he sent his followers to attack her, and like this lady's just been getting like lots of abuse. And again, he claims he loves like black women, does that, this, that, and the third. But look what he's using his platform for.
Mm. Well, can we use this opportunity to segue into one of the projects we need to discuss? I wonder, are there any mushmouths this week we need to talk about?
What's a mush mouth again?
It's just some of these guys who talk like they actually know anything about culture, family, whatever, but really they're just waste. That's a mushmouth.
Ooh.
Ti is a mushmouth.
It seems like you got someone in mind. You might as well set the pace.
No, I haven't actually. I'm just wondering, do we? I'm thinking, who were we
We
listening to
don't.
this
We
week?
have. I don't think anything that we listen to this week would be, unless we're gonna say MF Doom because of the food
No,
reference.
definitely not.
But that's about it. I think that we could just like say straight. Let's just do the first review. I want to do Jazmine Sullivan's one. Let's discuss Jazmine Sullivan.
Can we not do that one last because it's been the most highly acclaimed one this week?
Is it?
I believe so, yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really spoken about it much in the group. Has anybody else?
I haven't, but I do feel like it's the best album this week.
It's probably the biggest release, so maybe save it for
It's not the
last, I guess.
biggest release, that's for sure. Best possibly, but definitely not the biggest. Uncle Murda's bigger than Jazmine Sullivan, I believe. Anyway,
Is he?
No
let's.
I don't
way,
think so. I
really?
think this Jasmine Sullivan
When has
trend
Jazmine
has
Sullivan
really
ever
like
been a big
taken over the
artist?
cultural discussion.
Wait, so when people say Jazmine Sullivan, I'm really thinking of the old UK artist.
Okay, well, it's not her. Jazmine Sullivan is dope, don't get me wrong. But just because she's dope doesn't mean she's a big artist. Anyway, whoever you want to start with, so can we just pick an artist to start with, please?
Look, can we just talk about this for a second? Because she was on a 6-year hiatus, so I think maybe that's why you might have made that statement about her being whether or not she's a big artist. But that's what people are talking about, the fact that she came back after a 6-year hiatus with this incredible project. That's what makes people
Yeah,
think.
No, I'm going based on the
yeah,
record.
same person. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of when I say that.
So, well, That's why I think it might be worth waiting until the end to discuss this.
Okay,
So I say we go in by discussing MF Doom.
All
Let's
right,
do
then.
it.
Let's go.
Or we could start with the year and end of year wrap up. Doesn't that make more sense? End of year wrap up.
No, that'll be
Let's
Uncle
just
Murda's.
start, guys. Let's start.
Yeah.
Just
Let's
choose.
start with this wrap up. Let's do that.
What? Should we choose the
So
video?
Afia wasn't present last week on the wrap up last week.
Oh, did we? Did we really?
Yeah, but we
Oh,
didn't
but
do
why
the
did I have
EP.
to listen to it?
Maybe it's the whole album this week we've done, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know what's going on anymore. You guys just go and I'll just follow. Fine.
I feel joke.
Guys,
Literally
please,
dictated
can you wake me up when you're ready to start, because this is some bullshit.
You were talking over me anyway. Let's just go. Come on.
Alright, cool.
Let's go,
So
let's go.
Uncle Murda's latest album, Don't Come Outside Volume 3, kicks off with Wrap Up 2020. I'm not gonna lie, this is the first Uncle Murda full body project I've listened to. Obviously I've known about Uncle Murda because he used to be a battle rapper, if I'm correct, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't
I
think
think
so.
that's where he came up from. He was a battle rapper. Google it. And then, listening to this, I do have to say, Uncle Murda really hates 6ix9ine. Like, did you guys catch that vibe as well? Or is it just me?
Yeah.
He hates anyone who don't stick to the
You don't
code.
understand why.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
He references the
they
code
follow different
throughout.
rules.
Yeah. He's very big on it.
Super
It's the
big.
first project I've listened to in a long time where it's just constant referencing of like
Where do you
street
see?
etiquette.
Where do you see that Uncle Murda was a battle rapper? I don't get it. I don't see anywhere that it says he was a battle rapper.
Yeah, me neither.
I've never heard of him being a
And
battle
on
rapper.
this week's episode of podcast, we are giving you false facts.
Exactly.
Courtesy of Oliver Clark.
Anyway, the reason why he hates 6ix9ine is because he is from Brooklyn. He's from New York, and 6ix9ine's be making a mockery of New York rap, right? Especially with the gangster rap scene. Uncle Murda is an old school, essentially old school now, because he's in his late 30s now. Gangster rapper. He lives by that code, right? Of that no snitching and all that. So when you got someone coming out, this is the biggest snitch of all time, chatting a bag of shit, and seeing success off the back of it, obviously he's not going to appreciate that. And he doesn't understand what's going on, why people were still embracing him, even though he was on that foolishness. So the reason why he hates 6ix9ine is more than reasonable and understandable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
So yeah.
I think we've had that discussion so many times about 6ix9ine. No, I don't mean us personally. I mean just within like the culture.
Yeah. Well,
and I think
I feel like the culture didn't reject him properly in the first place. That's the issue. I think that's probably what gets people's back, or gets the older generations back.
well, he actually stated that, didn't he? He called out the people who worked with him when he came out of prison.
Well, yeah.
Like Akon.
But then again, we come from, everything's changed now, because back then you used to praise the drug dealer, but nowadays we praise the junkie. So everything has changed in terms of what we consume as listeners, as the audience. But anyway, let's get back to Uncle Murda's album. What's it called, Manny?
Don't Come Out Your House, Volume 3.
That's it. And it was enjoyable, was it? I liked it. What did you think, Ollie? Can we get like a review pop in here, or
no? Was it Don't Come Out Your House or Don't Come Outside?
Don't Come Outside. So I feel like it was an extremely solid body of work, in my opinion. Like, it had energy, it had varying sounds. Like, there were some times I was laughing. Like, there was a lot of introspection. Like, just a lot of insight into his life, really. And I think it's definitely worth listening. He had decent bars. The beat selection was extremely good. There's not much to say other than the only criticism I had was that there's a couple of tracks towards the end I was just like, why are these here? Like they felt like they didn't have the focus that was present in the earlier stages of the album. So it's really good. I actually enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. Like I knew it was going to be decent, but I didn't think it was going to be this good. Um, I need to go through some track lists because I listened to it quite a while ago. So I think my favorite track was "Nothing Like Me." That was a really good track. But then like the intro, I heard that on New Year's Day. That was really good. And at first I thought that was going to be the wrap up because he released it as that on YouTube, but that was a mistake. But I think the only tracks that I didn't like were Russian Roulette. Yeah, I think it's just that Russian Roulette. Yeah, it was just a good album.
What was your standout song?
The one with Conway, Nothing Like Me.
Okay.
That or Bro Shit. Bro Shit was really good as well.
Yeah,
That's one where he's talking about his brethren, how he snaked him.
yeah. I agree with those
I really like that track.
actually. Those are really two really good tracks. For me, right, I actually pretty much same as Ollie. I wasn't expecting much from the project. However, after I heard the wrap up and how good the production was on that, I was quite excited to see what would be on this actual full project because the beat for the wrap up is crazy. And yeah, so everyone knows how much I enjoyed that. And the album itself didn't disappoint. However, I'm so surprised. Like, there's a track on the album called "Part of the Plan," and it's literally Uncle Murda rapping over a B2K sample, and I've never thought I would ever heard it in my life. But yeah, that we heard it there and then. Um, yeah, that was very strange. But anyway, it was a good album. I appreciated it. And my favorite track probably was "Bro Shit." But yeah, your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, the production was like, is this an EP? I think it's an EP, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not
I think it's a product. It's more than 30 minutes.
there you go.
Okay, yeah, true, true.
It's
Whatever this
12
is,
tracks.
it's like
That's an album or mixtape or whatever.
yeah, the quality is A class, I'd say.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
agree
good.
as well. Um, again, like similar comments to all of you guys. Good body of work. He touched upon the Black Lives Matter movement on the Change Gonna Come song with my son and Tamika Mallory.
Mm,
Um,
the
I
samples are
believe they've
crazy.
got a podcast together as well. Is it called Street Politics? Too. Check it out. Um, also, Nothing Like Me. The beat on that went off. Really enjoyed that. And yeah, agree with you completely, Matt. Really enjoyed the B2K sample.
Wait, I never said I enjoyed
What
it.
song is that?
Part of the plan.
I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie.
It's it's oh, it's bump
Yeah.
bump bump, innit?
Ding
Bump
ding
bump bump.
ding. Bum bum bum. Yeah, that's it. I was banging.
Oh, yeah, it's just less long, man. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's that. Yeah, I just thought to myself, that's crazy.
Oh no, saying why isn't he more mainstream? Because like he's got the Griselda back in. He's got
He's only recently signed to
the
G Unit
likes of
Records. I think that was about
Casanova.
a year ago now that he signed to G Unit Records.
No, I think it was longer than a year ago. It might have been like 2 or
No.
2 or
3.
3 years now, really. It could be.
Yeah, whenever like at the time, 50 Cent and Tekashi 6ix9ine were still talking, and Tekashi done what, 2 years in jail?
I didn't do 2 years in jail.
Right.
Maybe just under 2 years then.
Oh, wow, yeah, he signed in
Okay.
2016.
Okay. Didn't realize.
Yeah, around the time of the first wrap up.
November 8th, 2016. Oh, he was on Def Jam before that as well. I could only think to myself, right, that in this day and age, to be successful in the rap game, you have to kind of maybe sell out a little bit to do it. And I just get the impression that Uncle Miller doesn't want to do that. But in saying that,
Yeah,
the production
probably.
he had on this project is better than anything I've heard from him before. So maybe he's linked up with a new producer or something because it's definitely different now. Definitely higher level.
Yeah, no, just it sounded good. It was like a nice project to listen to. Um, I'll rate it. Should we do? Did I give my shout song? My shout song is "Nothing Like Me." What's your guys?
We shared that before. I said bullshit. What about you, Afia? Did you listen to this project?
What, the Uncle Murda rapper? I mean, what is it
Don't
called
come
again?
outside, Volume 3.
Yeah, I
Three.
listened to it, and the wrap up was my favorite. That's it. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I like the wrap up.
Okay,
That's it. Oh, I also didn't like Russian Roulette. I didn't like it either. It stuck out to me as my least favorite. Also, yeah, this project started out really strong and it just fizzled for me towards the end. It became more like background noise as opposed to something I was really engaged with.
okay, I heard that. I heard
So
that. Let's give some ratings then, shall we? I think this is like a strong 3 for me.
Yeah, strong freezer.
I was legit gonna say week 4.
You can say it if you want to.
I'm still saying it's a week 4.
Okay. And Afia?
I'll give it a strong 3 as well.
Okay, so that's a 3 then. Um,
This was my first time listening to Uncle Murda, and I will be going back through his catalogue to listen to his old stuff as well. It was a
Yeah.
really interesting listen. It was great. I really, really enjoyed it. It might have fizzled out towards the end, but it started off really strong. So I really enjoyed it, yeah. He's very interesting to listen to.
He is.
with the rapper you mentioned, you know, the video came out for it this week. What did you guys think of that?
I expected more, but given the circumstances, I can kind of appreciate why it was done that way. Like if I remember correctly, the wrap up for last year was like shot in a club or something, like a strip club.
Obviously, I can't wait to do
I kind of liked how he stitched together like footage and moments from 2020 into that video. But in the scenes where it's him rapping, some of the footage was from other songs, so it felt a bit disorientating. So if he was going to do that, he should have just stuck to the studio shots that he had.
Yeah.
As opposed to mixing in other video shoots, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that was my one criticism with the video.
I think that you see what you mentioned there about having clips on different videos. It reminds me of, you know, when you see those unofficial videos on YouTube.
That's exactly what I was thinking when I watched it. I had to double check if it was him.
At one point, I was thinking I'm watching the right video, and I had to check that it was actually Uncle Murda Vivo. So yeah, that was
yeah, it says Uncle Murda Vivo here.
Yeah, but if it wasn't for that, it was like I'd be like, "Well, what the hell is this?"
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was quite a nice touch because, like, it just reminded you of things. So for example, I still can't believe the whole Will and Jada entanglement situation happened last year. Like, on top of every single thing that was in there as well. Jeez.
He went in.
Are you more concerned that it was that August was someone they took in to support, or that the act actually happened?
All of it is bad.
Yeah,
I feel like
all of it
entanglement is the right term, but used incorrectly in this situation because there is it's just too many things just going on in this pot. Like it's like a jambalaya of mess. Do you know what I'm saying? It's wrong
like
on all sides.
in
Like,
any I feel like in any other year that word would have been the word of the year.
Yeah.
But it didn't even last a month.
Luckily for Will.
But he just outright said what everybody's thinking. Like you can call it an entanglement, but you know, we all know it wasn't that, and we all saw Will's face at that table. Like the intensity on that man's face, it was
At that moment, I saw his soul escape his body, man. And if
My
Will Smith is
God.
like someone you don't. But the thing is, the fact that she was exploring her sexuality outside of the relationship doesn't surprise me. Like I've always had a thought that they had like an open marriage or whatever. That's fine. The issue I had was who it was with. So obviously this is like Jaden's boy. This is someone they brought in to support. and she's hella old. Okay, well, she's not hella old, but she's a lot older than him, old enough to be his mother.
Hmm.
So I think it's that makes it worse. If it was just like some random,
No, don't. I think that's sexist in a way. I'll tell you why, yeah. Because men do that all the time with younger
But I
women.
was just
and
about
I
to
don't think
say
that's right
myself.
either.
Yeah, no, the reason I say this is because I just view it as like he was so vulnerable at that time. He was incredibly vulnerable. That's why he even came into their fold, because they went out of their way to bring him in as a friend of the family and say, we will support you through this very difficult time that you're going through. So that was an acknowledged thing with them. And then she still went ahead to do what she did. And there is a massive power imbalance there, whether it's from the wealth and power or just from her being older or whatever. And had it been a young woman in that situation, I would be just as appalled as I am in this situation. It was not okay. And she's managed to skate, she's gotten away with it by the skin of her teeth, only because she is Jada. That's
Yep.
it. I mean, I am really appalled by that situation and the way she listen, anyway.
Mortified, mate. Mortified. Like, and that's exactly it. I think that's worse than the actual act. Like, how's that conversation even happen? Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, let me fix your bed for you. Here's some sheets. Here's a bathrobe for tomorrow when you want to have a shower. By the way, let me shower with you. I don't know. Like, how does this dynamic work? How does it even come about?
You're
How does it
so
come to
innocent,
fruition?
man. Honestly, that's so easily. It's unbelievable. It's so easy. It's so
Yeah.
easy.
I
No,
mean,
but she's a mum.
Doesn't matter if
She's
she's
a
a
mum,
mum.
yeah. So
She's a
she's had
milf, bro.
nurturing.
that's
She's
no,
a
no,
Yeah,
no, 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 no.
cougar
she's
in
a
her
woman as
prime.
well.
The only thing I'm
No,
upset about
there has
is that I wasn't the one that was knobbing her off, bro. Are you mad? She can violate me. I don't care. No, the only issue with what she did right, yeah, was what Afia said, that he come into that situation when his life was a complete mess, and they were supposed to be supporting him and mentoring him and providing him a platform so that he didn't just fall apart. And
She was a sexual
she just
predator.
decided, I want some cocky, and she took it.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that she was a
Yes,
sexual
she was.
predator, because she herself was in a vulnerable
Oh, why
situation
was
at
she
the time,
vulnerable?
and we
Dude.
no, hold on. She was having issues in her relationship. She was going through some kind of internal crisis, whatever that is. However, it doesn't take away from what
I've
she did at the
never
same
ever
time.
in my life
It's
here
her
heard a
fault.
guy that's having issues with his wife be called someone that's in a vulnerable situation. Never heard that before, but it's interesting.
No, she was going through some emotional stuff, she
Okay, but
said.
then when a guy's in a situation, that's never seen as an issue.
Oh, maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly then. I'm not trying to listen, like I told you, I'm appalled with what she did. I'm not trying to justify, but it's like with the Dutchavelli situation as well. Once there's a label issue here, like when you call someone
We are
a
not going to group. We're not going to
predator
group.
or a
We're
paedophile
not going
or
to
Yeah,
something, you
Jada
have to
Pinkett
look at there
Smith
is a
with Dutchavelli. We're not going to do that.
situation.
Okay, Jada Pinkett Smith is still fine, and she will still get it. Okay, so we're not grouping them together.
That's just so wrong on so many levels.
It is.
I don't know.
It is. That's how it sounds. But I don't think what Jada done was as bad as. In fact, I'm not going to say that. I don't know. I don't know anything about anything.
That's the thing. We don't know what happened
Yeah.
behind closed doors, how they actually
Don't.
fell into
I'll
the
tell
bed
you what
together.
happened. I'll tell you what happened.
So-
I'll tell you what happened. Right? Tell you what happened.
They got entangled and fell
Jada
into
saw
that bed
August.
together.
August saw Jada, and then there's a whole lot of.
No. Let me break it down for you. Yeah. Jada just put on a massive spread.
Is that running?
Yeah, I think it's running. I'm running. Anyway, let me set the scene. She's made a wonderful dinner.
No,
Yeah.
that's long. You think Jada cooks? She's a millionaire many times over. She
She cooks for August. She cooks for August. And then he's got the itis. So she's like, let me help you to bed. Little did he
only
know
thing that was going on
that
between
she
them
put
two was baking the pig.
some black bags on the floor, and she got 4 bottles of Johnson's baby oil.
Okay.
Just
Oh
shit
my
out.
God.
Made a slip and slide, and then oops. And one thing led to another, and
And they were entangled.
exactly. And it was a
Where
literal
was
entanglement, and we all didn't hear it, bro.
where was Jaden and Willow at this point.
That's
Jaden needs to
fine.
punch up
Jaden was
August, bruv.
recording the remix that
No,
Sunny did with
I think no, they are
with what you
victims
call it.
too. I feel for the
Well, I know
children.
Ollie's got knows the words to it as well. How's the song go again?
Well, Icon.
Not Icon, the one that he did with
What,
Justin
Stacey's
Bieber.
mum?
Oh, he may be bigger than me, stronger than me. Never say never. But ours, bruv. Yeah. Nah, Jaden needs to punch him up.
No, I disagree. I think August is still the victim in this because of the way that
I
he
want
lied
to be a victim too.
August was the one who
I
put
want
it
to
out.
be a victim.
August was the one who
I
put
want to
it
be a
out.
victim.
Will Smith is a
but I
I want
victim.
to be the
don't think that.
victim.
I don't.
If being the victim of a situation is having sex with Jada Pinkett many times over, I want to be a victim.
You're joking about like sexual exploitation.
I want to be exploited by Jada Pinkett Smith. Absolutely.
Write her a letter then and see if she'll respond. In the interim, we're talking about August Alsina's experience. This isn't
So I'm
about
basically
you.
saying,
Yeah, the real
write a
victim
letter about
here
my
is
sub
Will
story about
Smith.
how my life is falling apart.
Yeah. Oh my. Do you know what? Yeah. Will Smith. Everyone is a victim here except what's her face? Jada.
No, August isn't a victim because he loved her. So he done this to see if he could woo her away from Will.
Do you think
This was a
so?
calculated,
Because
yeah, it was a
August is a
calculated move.
bitch. That's what he
from Will.
is.
He aired
Imagine
their
he
eulogy.
could have still
shouldn't
been
done
beating
that.
it now, you know, but he wanted to put it out there. Now he's locked off now.
No, it ended before it was aired out. It ended.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Look, yeah,
She was like, now everyone done know our business.
exactly. It's too hot now.
You
It's too
can't be
hot
doing
now.
the
It's too hot
business.
now. But before they could have been like, you know what? You know how couples are. Sometimes they break up. Sometimes they get back together.
No, because they said that they went through a healing process, her and Will,
Look,
getting
yeah,
back
they
to
have.
their
They're
bad
chatting
marriage.
shit.
Remember? Bad
They're chatting
marriage
shit.
for
They have an
life.
open relationship. Will's always knocking off different women. Like, so
She hinted
exactly.
at that.
So
She
there's
did.
no, there's no
She said,
feeling.
yeah.
But they sign up for that. I think she's been knocking off guys as well. But I think the issue is August. Like that's your son's brethren.
Yeah.
That's despicable, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because it became emotional rather than physical.
Yeah, maybe.
I think for him it was emotional from the beginning because he talked about getting the cosign from Will. He wanted an okay. He said he was aware that their relationship was on the rocks. So it was like he was coming in as her new dude. That's what he was saying.
See, I wonder if that's all true, or I wonder if that was just like a story made up to make it seem less bad for Will.
That is so crazy.
But
It
that
just
makes
shows
it worse
can
that
have
that was people
all
ripped
the
for it.
money in the world. You can have all the money in the world, but at that point, it doesn't really mean anything. It's like
Listen,
a dude just comes into your house and is like, "Yo,
let me paint another picture for you.
yo."
August is sitting in a breakfast bar, and Jada comes down and she slaps him on the bum. No, he slaps her on the bum. And he goes, "Look, I like you, and I want you. We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Oh
The choice is yours." And then they got
my, that is
entangled.
so creepy.
And they
That
got
is so
entangled.
disgusting.
That's how it happened. He was sitting there eating grapes and cheeses, as these rich folk do,
That is really
having
disgusting.
a little mimosa. You know, a little mimosa.
Can we just like note that the Uncle Murder wrap up has made this subject so relevant again because of the way he dropped it.
Yeah.
Like everything he dropped and the way he dropped it, it's all relevant and open for discussion again.
Do you know what I will say? The video footage of Funkmaster Flex getting a lipo when he stuck his face on some lady in a bikini. I thought that was hilarious, bruv. I thought that was hilarious. I was rolling when I saw that. I was rolling.
BBL.
So many people. Anyway, we really should get back to these reviews now.
Yeah.
I was just about to start talking about everyone having lipo in the industry.
Well, all right, cool. So that's Uncle Murder wrapped up. Should we look at what other projects have we got? Should we talk about MF Doom? So RIP MF Doom. I think it's come out that he transitioned on the 31st of October, Halloween. It wasn't well known
Wait,
around
what
the
did you
world
say?
because
He's
I
done
don't
what?
think he's
Sorry, Manny?
based in the US.
From what to what?
transitioned.
That's the statement the family put out. Don't be
Is that what they said?
disrespectful.
So I'm just being
To
respectful.
No,
Yeah.
because
the
honestly,
Yeah.
whenever I hear
realm,
the word
innit?
transition now, I just think to myself, that's a sexuality change.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say.
Well,
Don't do
I'm
it.
not going to offend anyone, but when someone changes
But
from one sex to another,
um,
no? So anyway, okay, cool. If that's what the family actually put in a statement, then fine. I'm not going to argue that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another way of
yeah.
saying it.
So apparently he's based in the Caribbean. So they had that privacy in his final moment. So I think as a tribute, we as a collective decided to listen to some of his albums and just relay our thoughts. Just because I guess we may or may not have listened to him in the past, but just to share our thoughts on what we feel, how we feel he is as a rapper, just on our initial listen. So, who would like to take us away?
I will, because I probably have the least to say because I didn't really get to listen to his stuff today. But funny enough, I went back to listen to his first album, and that's the Food one. And I really enjoyed it the whole way through. And 2 songs in, I realized I'd actually listened to this so many times before. When I was at uni, I just must have been high enough that I didn't remember until I listened to it again today. He was, to me, like, lyrically great, interesting to listen to. You just enjoy it. It's like a vibe. You put it on, and it's, I don't know, you could just vibe to it, just get on with whatever else you're doing and just have it in the background and just chill. And it's just interesting from track to track, you know? So that's what I think about that.
I'll go next. So I listened to Food, but I think Operation Doom is actually his first album. So
Oh,
that's
is
what
it?
yeah. So that's what I listened to first.
Oh,
So
why did I think? Oh, okay, fair enough.
I think Food came out in like 2000 or something like that, and Operation Doom came out in, like either like mid 90s or late 90s, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Operation Doomsday, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, came out in 1999. And Food came out 2004.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you. Okay.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he done the production, the mixing, and the mastering for Operation Doomsday.
I cannot correct you because I do not know.
But with that in mind, and given the time, it's a bit rough, but it's also quite impressive. I found it kind of a tough listen because some of the beats were really out there. So there's a track where the beat slows down and then speeds up, and he kind of plays on that. So in terms of like creativity, it's a shame he didn't get like a lot more of a mainstream success because from a creativity perspective, he's really talented, and then lyrically, he's phenomenal. So you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get similes. You're gonna get metaphors. You're gonna get double entendres. Like you're gonna get it all with him. And he's kind of like a rapper like Lupe Fiasco, whereby you have to really listen and process to what he's saying. So there's sometimes where you can play it on the background, like Afia said, and there's other times where you really have to either listen multiple times or just really focus when you're listening, so you can try and catch everything. So Operation Doomsday, I thought that was really cool. I'm a Marvel fan, and Doom is like one of my favorite villains. So his spin on that and taking snippets from like the Fantastic Four cartoon or whatever and putting them into the project was actually really cool. And that's kind of a theme that he's
Yeah, I
continued
enjoyed that.
throughout like all of his albums. So the next one I listened to was Food, and like if you just look at the track list, like you're gonna laugh because it's all food basically, and like production wise, it's a massive step up over his first album. Lyrically, it's an even bigger jump. Just like everything is just like a monumental jump when you listen to the two back to back. And I really appreciated this album. Um, there wasn't a single track that I disliked, and it was just all vibes, like Afia said. And lyrical content was top tier. It was just solid, like really really good work. So growing up, a lot of my friends listened to MF Doom, but I never really got into him. I was more of a Nas guy, but I wish I listened to him more around that time when I was growing up. So yeah, that's my sum up.
So I'll go next. So MF Doom has always been like a rapper for the hipsters. In my eyes, like he's never been like a mainstream or someone that I would have considered like top level. I don't know why, if that's just due to branding or what, but or just my personal ignorance, and I think it is the latter. Um, but yeah, I never delved into MF Doom's catalog or followed his career really. But listening to this, I kind of felt bad because you can a lot of the way he raps, um, his his flow, his lyrics, he sounds very familiar. And from looking at a lot of rappers that are current in the mainstream, he's on their top five. So he's inspired a lot of rappers, and listening to him on Food, you can definitely see where those inspirations come from. Um, so yeah, he's very influential. Sounds great. Obviously, his projects aren't mainstream. It would have been great to see him like collab maybe with some notable figures, but I believe he held a very strong independent philosophy. So a lot of the projects he put out himself. He was very big on merchandising and set a path again for a lot of rappers and coached a lot of rappers on how to do this independently. I believe he was always on tour, so I'm guessing this year must have been really hard for him as well. So yeah, big up him of Doom, and yeah, I'll definitely be listening to him going forward.
I think that was a very interesting take, Manny, and I will say that the take you had, it was very much laced with um, the way that music is looked at and consumed today. And that's not to say what you said is wrong or anything like that, but you mentioned that he's a hipster rapper, and he absolutely is not a hipster rapper, or at least
Yeah,
he wouldn't be considered that back in 1997, was it? 1999 is
yeah,
when Operation Doomsday came out. Like, that didn't exist. A hipster rapper, that wasn't a thing. The hipster rap didn't come around really until what Kanye West.
So Kendrick
No,
Lamar.
it's Kanye West all
Oh
started the
yeah,
backpack rap, and then what Lupe Fiasco as well
yeah.
with that as well. So what you have with MF Doom is someone that was before his time essentially. If he came out 5, 10 years later, then he would absolutely be in that bracket.
correct.
But because he arrived before his audience essentially was ready, um, he had nowhere to. He didn't have his audience didn't yet exist. If that makes sense, he was just before his time. So when you say why was he not as successful as he
Yeah,
was, my belief is I don't know for sure, but from listening to the albums, I believe the reason why he didn't become as big as he should have is because of the fact that that is not what the record labels were pushing at the time. That's not what they wanted. They wanted either proper gangster rap like Jay-Z, like 50 Cent, that sort of sound, um, or they were going for something maybe a bit more cheesy. I can't really think of a cheesy rap at the time, but you had that cheese rap as well. And you also had that, beginning of the 2000s, you had the Dirty South, if there's no like Laffy Taffy type of songs. You know what I mean? So he just didn't fit into the culture essentially. And it's one of those things whereby his music is probably appreciated now a lot more than what it was back then. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think I listened to quite a few of his albums, and I really, really, really appreciate Operation Doomsday, which is his first one. and listening to it, I see no reason why that wasn't like a platinum selling album. But when I framed it into the time period of when it came out, and the albums that were coming out around that time, people would have listened to it and be like, "This shit is ass. What is this shit? Why?
Yeah, because that's like
Yeah,
reasonable
why?
doubt
Why is
times, isn't
anyone
it?
listening to this, bro? Where's the talk about the crystal? And where's the women shaking their booties in the music videos whilst getting champagne poured on them by like someone like Dame Dash? Like,
See, it's an awkward thing. Like, if it came out like '94 around Illmatic times, it probably would have
possibly.
blown up. But at that point, hip hop, the state of hip hop
Yeah,
had changed massively. Like people like Biggie made it change to where it was more like
luxury gang. It's like,
person rapping.
is it even? I don't know if it's on gangster rap, is it? It's luxury rap. What we should really talk about. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, luxury
So
gangster rap.
it just didn't fit in. It never had an audience, like I said, and it's a shame. But at the same time, I don't think that he ever wanted to be famous like that anyway. So I think the level he reached and the critical acclaim he enjoyed and the notoriety he had is probably what you
Yeah.
would have preferred rather than being someone like Jay-Z or like 50 Cent that would be mobbed just walking down the road. I don't think he would have appreciated that from listening to the music and from seeing the way he did live his life in the end. So yeah, I'm really glad that I actually did take the time to listen to his projects as well because like I said last week, I wasn't really familiar with it, but it was actually good music that still sounds good today. And music does age. Bad music ages, good music doesn't. And so the fact that I'm listening to this in 2021 and seeing an album from 1999 sounded really good, that says a lot to me. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So yeah. Anyone else got anything more to say on that? Or yeah.
I think everyone's
Well,
spoken.
Ollie, you know what you were saying
Calm,
about
man.
the creativity? I think it was you or Manny. It's interesting because when I was listening to Food, I thought to myself for the first time, because this is the first time I'd listened to it since uni, I just thought Kanye West. Somebody said that people try and experiment. Do you know what I mean? And sort of be creative. No, that he is creative, etc. And I thought people do try and experiment and copy that sort of creativity that he had, but
I
it doesn't
think
really work. And I reckon Kanye is one of those people.
the thing with Kanye is he takes like so much critically acclaimed stuff and he chops it up and makes it accessible to people of all sorts of audiences.
Mm.
So that's whereas Doom was like, I need to find a track name, but on Operation Doomsday, there's a track called, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Operation Greenbacks, where the beat literally goes really slow, and then he's rapping fast, and then it goes really fast, and then he's
Yeah.
rapping slow. And that's like it was mind
Yeah,
bending.
that
Like it
was
was
sick.
weird,
That was sick.
but
Yeah.
in a good way.
Also, that's the other thing as well. Sorry,
I think
go
the
on.
things.
Some of the
No, go on.
samples he's used on this album are actually crazy because I've heard them in other popular tracks used in different ways, but I don't know what came first, whether it was him using the sample and then someone else has used it after, or he's been inspired by them. But I reckon it's probably him inspiring them. I think it's quite interesting. There's
Yeah,
quite a few samples. Like it's a sample use is
yeah, and
crazy.
that's why it's
There's J Dilla.
it's kind of upsetting that he never got mainstream success. But then with that, I've watered down his style.
You end up getting all the record label
Who knows?
expectations and stuff like that, and expectations from a lot of people depending on you to hit platinum every time. It can have a real impact on your sound. There's very few musicians that go into the studio. I'd say very few top level musicians that go into the studio and just make music that they want to make. Quite a lot of them have to make music to trigger a certain section of the audience or whatever, give them what they want. Someone like Kendrick Lamar, for example, he goes into the studio and he just makes whatever he wants. And I appreciate that about him. I don't always like the albums he comes out with, but I appreciate that he's making what he wants to make. Whereas someone like, I don't know, Rihanna, she's making what the people want to hear. So Yeah, interesting.
What? No, Rihanna always pushes the envelope.
Okay,
Don't
then.
cuss Rihanna like that.
Okay. If
Shit.
you're working with someone like, if you look at the people she works with, they're like the most ultra mainstream people of all time. So I don't understand what envelope she's pushing. But
Go, Riri. It's your birthday. You can party like it's your birthday. Sorry,
what's
that's some
next?
great daydreaming. Boom. So, covered MF Doom RIP to legend. I believe next we have Jazmine Sullivan. Jazmine Sullivan. Oh my god.
She got you
Why is
salivating,
my
Manny.
mouth? Yeah. I think I'm still thinking about Riri. Jazmine Sullivan with the hotels. Who would like to kick us off?
Not me.
Well, I nominate Manny.
I nominate Afia.
Okay. I wanted one of you guys to speak first. To be honest, I wanted to see what you guys had to say about this project, because it's obviously telling a lot of women's stories.
I can start then.
Well, why don't we just have a general discussion about it? Because I think it's that kind of project, no?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to ask you guys what you thought of the one when she's talking about being dickmatized, essentially.
What track was that?
That's the soundtrack to my life, really.
What was it called? She just kept...
God.
Oh my days.
Was it Put It Down? Put It Down. When she's talking about how the way, the way it speaks to her, everything it does for her. Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest. At first, I was hating this album. Like,
Yeah.
it took me a while to warm to it. So I was just thinking, like I didn't take notice of the title or anything like that, and I just thought this girl's talking reckless. Like I have a thing about portraying. Like lately, I've had this thing about portraying a positive message, and I felt like this is not a positive message. But then, as more skits came through, I actually looked at the album title and I started to listen to the lyrics deeper. I
Yeah.
actually began to appreciate it a lot. And then I also thought that this is an album that females need.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there's like a lot of taboo around a female's promiscuity. And I think she's addressed this really well. So upon reflection, um, I think it's actually a decent track. And I think that applies to pretty much all of the tracks in the album, to be honest. Like, it's an interesting listen. And like you're hearing a lot of her insecurities, and I feel like that's like a lot of things that females go through.
Yeah.
Like even stuff when she was talking about how a guy may not like how she looks or how she acts, but they're gonna like how she's in the bedroom, and that's gonna keep him coming back. But she doesn't know if that makes her feel happy or sad, because on the one hand it makes her feel happy that she's having someone come back to her, but on the other hand she's feeling sad because they only come back to her for one sort of thing. So
Was that the final track, Girl Like Me?
I don't know if it was the final track. It might have been. No,
That
it
was
wasn't the
my
final track.
favorite one. I thought that was
Might
a
be.
brilliant
I
track.
think it was like Precious's Tale, something like that, or the other side. Is that it's one of the tracks towards the end of the album. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just it was an interesting look into how females think. Obviously, for
Yeah.
guys looking in, it was. I appreciated it. I really liked it.
it's funny for me as a woman. When I was listening to this, I haven't had every experience that she was talking about. But even if I haven't personally experienced something, I'm familiar with every story that she's told in this project. It's not something new to me. And it was really, really raw, honest, and very real. If if you want to understand what it's like to be a millennial woman, listen to this project. I was just like, yeah, there is something in here for every single woman. It was intense, and I want to hear more about what you guys have to say about it, actually. So let's keep going with that. Go on, Manny. What were you gonna say?
I agree.
Smash the windows out your car, man. For fuck's sake.
And he
No, I
butchered
was
that.
just agreeing with you. I really enjoyed this album, man. Jazmine Sullivan has an amazing voice. I remember when I first heard about her through her single. I think it was "Smash the Windows Through." Smash your car windows. I smash the windows of your car. However it goes. Yes, smash the windows out your car. That's it. Oh my god, that track. When I first heard it, I was like, "Oh my days, it's about to be a revolution. It's gonna be all sorts of windows smashed." And true to word, like after that, I did notice loads more like women were smashing like the cheating boyfriend's windows and filming it and putting it on World Star. To be fair, um, what else? Going back to this project, I really
Get in there,
enjoyed
Pogba!
I felt they were very
I'm
personal,
sorry. I'm sorry.
very
Nah,
I'm sorry.
insightful into who
United are
she
good top
is
of the
as a
table. I'm
person.
sorry. I'm sorry to ruin the podcast,
Her
but I had
views
to.
on the sort of relationships that she wants for herself, understanding the sort of standards that she set for herself,
I was
understanding the
actually
sort of
going to interrupt you
experiences that
anyway because
she's
I was
gone
going to
through,
say
like
I haven't
her
actually checked
falling
yet.
in
I was
love
going to
with a
check, but
woman and
is this
kind
a
of
collection of
showing
women's
how
stories or is this
m-
all
mu-
her experience? Because I was under the impression that this is a collection of women's stories.
okay. I was proper flow, like literally. I thought,
Mm,
okay, good.
mm, mm.
I would. This is just an assumption. I would assume it's her experience, especially since she's spent so much time out of the picture living. If that makes sense. So it's been 6 years, you
Mm.
said, right, since she released her last album. So in that 6 years, yeah, she's probably lived a bit. She's garnered some money from touring, from you know, living her life, and has now put it into songs. And I guess, yeah, that going back to just to conclude, um, I guess my
Yeah,
favorite track on the album is "Lost One."
yeah,
I really
absolutely.
enjoy that song. I don't know what is it. It
I
just
mean, for me,
resonated with
the
me. It's just
storytelling content is just
her
off the
her
charts.
going
For me,
through
it's just a
like that
brilliant
dark
project.
period and
Timeless.
coming
This
out of it,
project is absolutely timeless to me.
um,
So, what
and
about
putting it
you,
into song. I
Annie?
think
Okay,
she
so
does really good.
This is
She does a
I
really
know
good job in
yeah,
writing
come on,
songs,
United
if that
United.
makes sense. And
Nah,
that's a gift
Yeah,
that
nah.
a lot of
exactly.
songwriters can't really do well.
See, I was
I,
gonna
apolo-
cut that bit out, but now I
I
can't do that
apologize.
because we've gone back to it.
I apologize for that,
bring us
but
all
it's
into
your own
like
fault, Manny, because you actually said, "Oh, don't worry, we're gonna hear how Elijah Wright
Yeah.
goes when United scored today." And fucking hell, I thought I'd show you. Anyway, I'm gonna start
Matt's having a
my
wank
review
off
off in a
over
very
Man
similar way
United
to
at the minute.
Manny's. I first heard about Jazmine Sullivan when she released the song
Literally, the way
"Crash
you
the Windows."
intersected.
Was it?
I was
Break the
like,
windows.
oh my days.
Smashed it in the car, but you know what? Yeah, it wasn't her version. I heard the Trey Songz version because this is back when Trey Songz was doing his trigger mixes, right? Yeah, so obviously I've been a trans songs. Fucking hell, wait. I've been a Trey Songz. I've been a Trey Songz fan from like day
That is
dot,
very
yeah.
exciting.
And so I was listening to all of that. I was like, what song has he remixed to? So I went and hunted down the original, and I was like, oh, the original was actually sick as well. So I used to have like both songs on my playlist, like back to back. I remember that. Anyway,
Good.
I've always followed Jazmine Sullivan's music. Like even her old albums are good, but even when she
Oh, the
hasn't released music
remixes.
that has been great, it always followed up by something else. So, for example,
Oh,
Afia mentioned that she hasn't released a project for 6 years, which is true, but she has released some songs. And one of the songs that she released was the song what she did for Issa Rae's TV show, which is called Insecure. I think that song was with Bryson Tiller, and that was a really good song. I really like that song. But yeah, this album, I didn't really pay any attention to the name of it. Like I saw it was called Hotels or Hotels, whatever, whichever way you pronounce it. And I didn't notice how much she's actually slimmed down as well. But that makes no difference to me because I think her music is amazing anyway. But yeah, I didn't pay any attention to the name of it, and I put the album to play on my
Insecure.
speaker as I got in the shower because I thought to myself, it's gonna be some mad emotional shit. So why not listen to it whilst the water just like drenching me like from top to bottom, just set the mood right. And it wasn't downbeat at all. It was quite upbeat. It was quite cheerful, really. It was generally positive, and I just enjoyed all of it. Really, I can't think of any song that I disliked on the album. But I will say the songs that I enjoyed the most were the ones that have already been mentioned, which were was it Put It Down? That was a good song, and also I really enjoyed On It. But you know what? I
Which one is going to get you flown out? Was it Put It Down? Is that the one that's going to
flew
get you
out, not
flown
flown
out?
out, flew out. Okay, you got to get right in the city girls
Flew
lingo.
out.
Okay,
Excuse me. All right. Okay. You need to get
but
flued
I
out.
really love
Okay.
Ari Lennox as well.
Ladies out there, if any of you are willing to fly Matty
Literally
out,
my
we will
birthday
put it
next
down for
weekend,
you.
so I'm out here. Let's do the thing.
Turning tricks for flights.
No, but in all seriousness, Ari Lennox, I love Ari as well. I follow Ari on Twitter. She is so funny, and her music is amazing as well because she always manages to make really sexual like music that is somewhat innocent sounding, and she gets away with it. Like her lyrics are filthy, but because she sings it, it sounds innocent. But anyway, her and Jasmine teamed up and they made a great song in what's it called? On It. And yeah, just the whole album's sick. Just listen to it. It's great. Stream it. I want to see this. I want to see this album do well. Like I said earlier on, what do you think it's about? The whole album's about the same thing. To me, I only had one thing throughout this album. I had
What did you hear? Sex. It's funny because is that who's clapping?
someone's booty cheeks are getting clapped out. What's happening?
Oh, right, okay. Who was clapping? Who was it for real? Which
weren't
one
me.
of you was clapping?
What
It
was
weren't
On
me,
It
I'll tell you
about
that.
again?
I want to know who was
I am the
clapping.
PG-13 one
No,
in this podcast, so that only leaves one other person.
I know who it was as
And
well.
they have an A in their name.
I see what you did
Someone's
there,
running again.
Oliver.
So that
I
can
see
be
what you
one
did
of
there.
you three, but that can be one of you three.
So we all know who was
I'm sure that whoever
clapping.
did it has
All
a
right.
has a
Anyway,
vowel in their name.
it's funny.
There you go.
It's funny because anyway, what I heard in this was a lot of pain actually about the lack of
Dougie must
control
have been
that
too
she
hard.
has or these women have over their own sexuality still, even while they're trying to be more independent and have their own things, etc. If you noticed, a lot of this was about how sex and money are still tied together when it comes to how men and women relate. Did you guys not catch that?
He's lying.
Yeah, I did.
There was so much of that. Oh, absolutely. And she topped it off with her last song where she talked about not being. In fact, I was like, let me bring out my notes.
Oh, the sound
Here
effect
comes the
we
binder.
pulled
Here
out.
comes my note.
Oh, it's
Listen,
getting serious.
no, there was a lot. There was a lot in there where she talked about different like that. There's a lot of conflict in how a woman is supposed to manage her relationship with a man when it comes to money, and oftentimes you feel like you cannot win. And there were moments where she felt in this like she was gonna be the giver, like in Put It Down, for example. And then she showed a different dynamic when she talked about women who will package themselves and sell themselves in order to live a certain kind of lifestyle because they feel that's the only way. It's by meeting a wealthy guy, and leaning on that
You know
person to
something?
then
Sorry
support
to
you.
interrupt here, but I'll
And then
just
she talked.
talk about what you talk about there. That's something that we discussed recently in my group of university pals, and also something that I've discussed with previous partners before. Like, when it comes to money, like I know the way I am, I wouldn't want to take money from a woman that I'm dating. Like, I would rather be the giver, and the whole dynamic of a relationship is really quite for both men and women. It is quite dependent on money. However, the expectations, the stereotypical expectations, are that the man should be the one providing more often than not. So
Well, she goes through a whole range of different types of dynamics between men and women when it comes to money, money and sex and relationships. And it's like a whole journey, loads of different phases and seasons that she goes through. And I thought that was the main bulk of it, in fact, not so much the sex, but how it ties into everything else. And then I thought the last song where she talks about this other dynamic of who she is as a woman, where she's sensitive and sweet and she can be a good person, but she sees, what's going on in this. She feels like she cannot win. There's just too much. All these other types of dynamics are suffocating and flooding that particular part of her out. And I thought that was very, very interesting and poignant to end on.
yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree.
I actually got all that, and I think one thing that helped was the skits. The skits were actually
they were
placed
brilliant.
perfectly, and they actually helped me as a guy to better
It's like a
follow and
guide
understand.
through this story, isn't it? Those skits. And yeah, it all tied together incredibly. I think the storytelling in this project is what makes it just is absolutely fantastic. I also thought, how we used to have stripper anthems? I felt like there was a lot of energy here where it's like Insta model / OnlyFans, person anthems as
It
well.
does. It does.
If that makes sense. I feel like we're ushering in the age of Insta model anthems
I
now.
feel like
Yeah,
if I know it's gonna sound bad me saying this, but it's the honest truth anyway. If Jazmine Sullivan was this size when she first came out, she would have been a bigger star than she is today. That's a simple fact. Because
And
her
she talks
music has
about
always
that in her
been
music.
yeah, she
been
does.
good,
Body is,
and I've always appreciated it. But as we all know, music is it's not just about the quality of your music; it's the whole image. And she never had that before. Now she's all slim and all that. Maybe you might have it. Maybe this album will be received differently. Who knows? But it's a good album.
So on the basis of that, What do you think is going to happen with Adele's next
Adele's
album?
different. Adele's an anomaly. So her next album was sold the same because everyone loves Adele. I personally don't like her music that much, but everybody else seems to. So I don't see any reason why it would stop being successful.
Mate,
This is the funny thing. There's this whole discussion about when it comes to larger women, and if you're white and you're curvy or bigger, like Adele, you're still
No,
gonna
I
have
don't think that's
enough
true.
privilege
That
to
is
be
not true.
successful.
Adele
With
Adele
someone
is an
like
anomaly.
Jazmine
Okay,
Sullivan.
I'm not. She's not. It's not
Sorry.
about talent here because there's other people that are talented like Adele. But
Oh, listen, hey, I love
can
Adele.
you show me all the other
I'm just
fat white
putting
women,
that argument
all the other
forward.
fat white women that have been banging like Adele? Because I don't see them.
You're
Yeah,
arguing with the wrong
yeah.
person.
She
I
never
think
banged. She never
Adele.
banged like Adele.
I'm a huge Adele.
She did not bang. She did not.
Susan
She
Boyle
had an
bang.
amazing voice, and I think she released like one album or something, or a couple albums after Britain's Got Talent. But she never did anything like what
No, you can't take away
Adele's
from
done,
Adele's
or
talent.
anything like what any other talent's done that would fit into your stereotypical pop star mold, like a Rihanna or Beyonce or Ariana Grande.
I think I think there are some
Okay, Missy Elliott's
like
not a
Missy
singer.
Elliott.
She's a
Susan
rapper,
Boyle.
Okay,
and she was very boisterous with it. So
true.
Lizzo's not doing Adele numbers.
Lizzo, yeah.
So I said Adele is on the top tier. Okay, there's no one doing better than Adele. Adele is up there with Beyonce. Okay, no one. Lizzo is not up there. So no,
All
I'm
right,
just pointing
calm
out
down.
that she is a freak of nature in terms of how the music industry goes.
Is it because she wore that Jamaica
No, it's not.
outfit?
It's
Is that
not.
what this is?
It absolutely is not. No.
Hey,
Oh
when Matt
yeah.
saw that, he was
Is that
licking his
is
lips
that
and
what's
rubbing his
kept us
hands
on? Yeah,
together.
is that what's kept us Get the fuck out.
No. He was in his bedroom like,
There was
Papa!
so I was
He was like,
involved. I was
lock
involved in
that
so
up.
many discussions around that.
No.
Yeah, and the vast majority of them were not positive. So anyway, like I personally think that she was doing too much that day, but it's what it is.
All right.
Or
Well,
was she not doing
Like I
enough,
said,
Matt?
Adele was a freak
Ooh.
of nature in terms of how her sales are and what she does. Like there's no other artist that you can compare to her really in terms of what she does and her image. Even the fact that she's not even really out there. She's not out there on the blogs or on Instagram or on Twitter. She's not really doing it that hard. She has the platforms, but she's not someone that's really posting much.
why are we
You
talking
do.
about Adele
But
though? We're
anyway,
supposed to be talking about Jazmine
I'm
Sullivan.
saying
I'm getting
Jasmine
offended for Jazmine,
deserves
so
so
let me
much
calm
success. She really does. I hope she gets it.
Absolutely.
Same,
Yeah, I think it's so
same.
introspective that it's one of those ones where you need to listen to it over and over to catch everything. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't surprise me if she spent the whole 6 years piecing this thing
And
together.
you know what?
It
If she
is
did,
just
good on her.
astounding.
Because
I
you know,
love
I
it as
always
a
say
friend.
that these artists sometimes release music too quickly, and it's shit.
You know, it was also a really
Same.
great
I will
social
definitely be
commentary.
replaying this
Again,
album.
going back to sex, relationships, money, etc.,
Guys,
on social media and how this is influencing our self-esteem and how
yeah.
we relate to each other. You know, how people build relationships and things like that in this day and age. There was a lot of commentary
Agreed.
on that as well that I thought was very pertinent. We were having a discussion about this stuff just recently, if you recall, you know, in our group chat. And I said to you guys that because you know, I told you guys I'm not very au fait with social media. It's not really my
Oh,
thing.
that's changed.
But since doing the podcast, I'm engaging more, and I've been blown away by some of the things I see on places like Instagram. You know, the way people talk to each other, relate to each other, etc. And there was one of the guys in this group has an attitude towards these things that I said. As a woman, if I'm faced as a woman, if I come to you just fresh and I am faced with this attitude from you as a man, it would breed me to become the exact stereotype that you don't like. A lot of men say they don't like, rather, where I would then be looking at a man for what can he give me? what am I worth? I'm going to package myself and sell myself to you because this is what you want from me. And in that case, if it's a transactional experience like that, what are you willing to give me?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And I felt like she summarized that intensely in her last song. So I don't know if you guys remember that discussion, but I thought there was a lot of that in this album as well. I give it a 4, a strong 4. Do you know what? No,
Why
I'm
are you
giving this a
sending me this
5.
for? So it's total
You know, it
group
makes sense.
I think it's a
What do you
4,
mean? What are you
but I
talking
can't
about?
argue. If someone's to give it a 5, I'm not going to be like, no, absolutely not. I think I think a
No,
4 or
definitely,
5 is
definitely.
reasonable. I think, me personally, it's a 4 though.
Yeah,
I don't even know why
agree.
it's a 4 rather than a 5, but it's
So,
a 4.
what would you guys rate this album then?
I'm giving it a 5.
Wow. Wow. I think I want to. Okay. Here's the pros and the cons of this album for me.
Definitely not
There's way
few
more
songs.
pros
14
than
tracks on that album,
cons.
and most of the time, my
I
issue is
like the interludes,
my issue is that
There's like
there's
3
too many
interludes.
but I
songs
feel
most
like
of the
there
time,
could
and
have
it
been
brings
more
down the quality.
songs.
I thought this album was
So
lovely. It
without the
is.
interludes, because I believe the interludes make up like half. How many songs are there actually? Um, 1 second, let me come back to you guys. Heart is. Wait, hold on. So there's 14 tracks, 6 of which are interludes. The interludes complement the tracks, but in reality,
You're making
that
Yeah,
sense.
means
yeah,
That
yeah,
there's
doesn't
making sense.
disagree with you.
only
You want more
That's all.
content,
You're
what,
basically.
like
making
8
sense. Perfect
tracks,
sense.
really? That's why
I
it's
think
a
to
4
myself,
for
like
me.
quite often, I talk about
Like
cohesion
on,
in
I
albums
would
and how
probably like more
sometimes
songs,
albums just feel like tracks that don't really fit together well.
maybe
And
less
this album uses interludes to
interludes,
make
just to, and
things just
maybe
run a bit
change
more
the
flush, a bit
concept up to allow
just
more
transition a bit
songs
nicer.
underneath those
So
interludes.
I
If that
definitely have
makes
no
sense.
issue with
Am I
the
making
amount of
sense here? Or
interludes
am I
that there are,
on a cliff?
and most of the interludes are good as well. So yeah,
Yeah, so that's why it's a
no
4.
negative there for me at all.
That's natural for us.
Yeah, I mean, the album is very cohesive. It tells a wonderful story. I don't know how to rate it though. I don't know if it's a 4 or a 3. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. I think a 4 is fair. It is really good.
So it sounds like it's a resounding 4 with a strong potential to be a 5. Cool. What other albums do we have to review? So we had a submission from one of our listeners, who also creates music. He goes by the name of Tomboxe. We'll be putting a story up later this week, pointing you to his music. He's recently produced an album independently, called Does the Adrian. Did you guys get a chance to listen to a few of the tracks?
I listened to the album in its entirety.
What did you think?
So I think on the album he demonstrated a wide range of sounds and skills. Like the last track he's rapping. There's a couple of tracks that sound like River Island music. There's a couple of tracks that are just easy to vibe to, which were the 2 singles.
Yeah.
I think there's a track. I think it's like track 8, where it kind of sounds like he's sampling Linkin Park in the end, or Numb or whatever the song's
Yeah.
called.
I love those
Um,
songs. I love Linkin Park. Anyway,
like the piano keys line up with the beat for that
Mm.
song, so it sounds like he took inspiration from that. But it just felt like it lacked a bit of focus. So it wasn't hard to listen to, but some of the sounds, like from track to track, I feel like it didn't complement each other. So I would have liked him to just focus on one style. So the the indie sound kind of worked, and the soft R&B worked. But if you could have just focused on one of them, that would have been a lot better. It wasn't a bad album at all. Um, I just wanted a bit more focus. It was an easy listen. Some of the songs I was singing along to, the videos for the singles were really good, really creative. Um, so yeah, I think it's actually a good listen. Um, not many criticisms other than just a bit more focus. Like maybe he could have, like each album has like a different style, sort of like Kendrick does when he reinvents himself. But yeah, it's definitely worth a listen.
Cool.
I enjoyed it. I actually added it to my downloadable music on Apple Music, so
Please.
that's a positive as well.
Afia, Matt, what did you guys think?
I listened to a couple of the tracks. I listened to Foot on My Neck. No, is that on the album?
Yeah, it's on the album.
Foot on My Neck, and the other one is called Hide. And I really enjoyed Foot on My Neck. It was different. I like the idea and the story. Hide was not so much for me, but I felt like it reminded me of Seal, Kiss from a Rose kind of sort of vibe, very 90s sort of thing. Um, and the woman in the visuals, absolutely beautiful, by the way. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I enjoyed it. It was a nice light listen for me. But I agree with Ollie. I think maybe um I agree with Ollie.
Cool. Matt?
I have to apologize. Right? I got so sucked into the MF Doom projects that I didn't get a chance to listen to this fine gentleman's music. However, I will do it. I will listen to the music and give my view on it next week. I appreciate when our listeners actually do reach out to us and listen, say they want to us to review the music. So the least I can do is actually do it, even if it is a bit delayed. My
Why
apologies.
No
don't we
worries.
all why don't we all just give it a good listen and come and talk
I've
about it
I've
again?
listened to it a few times now, so it's. But I think like today's probably a good day to review anyway. But if you guys have comments, we will. I was hoping to. He said that he probably wants to come on and have a chat with us, so maybe we could do that one of these days.
Yeah,
Understand the
that'd actually be interesting.
independent music
Yeah,
journey.
I actually
I'm
wanna
absolutely open to having that conversation with him, and I'll be sure that I'll be up to date with his music before um we do that.
Cool.
I actually wanna
You should
understand
be
the
ashamed of yourself, Matthew.
I wanna understand the process that he took to like why he chose to do so many different sounds on the album. Like you listened to the album, Manny, didn't you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Um,
so did you get the same vibe as me, where like there was like some sounds that just didn't complement each other?
to be honest,
Sorry.
I
I'm
kind of didn't feel that way only because I feel like when you're new, you kind of want to show variation, if that makes sense, because you haven't really committed yourself to a genre just yet.
Yep.
And I
That's true.
feel like that's what's on display here, like a variety of sounds. Um, but there's nothing you can really have, or there's no real label for an independent artist when they first kick off, right? Like you can't really, you always have to fit into a box, if that makes sense. It's definitely hip hop, it's definitely popish, it's definitely like Afro swing-ish in some elements too. Like it's just a mix of different genres for me. But then in terms of its structuring, yeah, I could like maybe you could break it up, kind of categorize some of the songs in a different way, introduce interludes, but not as many as the last
Yeah.
projects. But like I see what you're saying, just break it up a bit more.
Yeah, like it's 9 tracks long, so if he added in 3 interludes to match different styles, that might have made it a bit more cohesive, I reckon.
Yeah. Calm. Okay, cool. We'll hopefully
Can
speak.
we before... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, we'll hopefully speak to Tom Buxey in an upcoming episode, and we'll leave it there because we don't really rate new artists in that respect. So yeah, I'll leave it there. What was you gonna say, Afia?
Well, I would like to wish Tom Buxey a lot of luck as well, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from him in the future because I do think he is creative, and it's nice to see someone who actually puts some personal. It's not just manufactured. You can see there's a lot of personal touch in his music, so I appreciate that. And I will be waiting to
Yeah.
see what he brings out next as well, for sure.
And he was actually pretty good vocally too, I
Yeah,
will say.
I agree. I agree. That's why he reminded me of Seal in Hyde. I thought that was really good. His vocal range is great.
Awesome.
Can we just jump on this Azalea Banks topic, please? Because I am dying over
Okay,
here.
cool. Just before we do that, I'll give the socials. Guys, follow us on Instagram at EarSauce_. Follow us on Twitter at EarSauce_. You can follow me, Emmanuel Yates 90 on Twitter. Ollie, your socials.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at OCClark_10.
You can find me at earsource.afia, and that should be on Twitter and on Insta.
You guys can find me at hashtag Glory Glory Man United. Get in there, boys! Top of the league. Now, seriously, I'm at Mr. Matty Lee on Twitter and at Mr._Matty Lee on Instagram.
Now, can we talk about Azalea Banks? Because I am dying. What the hell?
Yeah, after you give your
Go for it, man.
socials.
She's really fucked up. She's finished basically. She's done.
After
There's
your
no
socials.
there's no comeback from this one. There's no comeback. I'm sorry. She's finished.
Agreed.
Oh my god. I'm just looking through these memes and things. I am dead. Well, the cat is dead. Gee, what? It died
You can
twice.
follow Afia at earsource.afia.
I am just shocked. Shocked. Do you know what it is? Yeah. It's not even like the cat was freshly deceased and then she thought to boil and cook it and make it into soup.
How long ago was it? Was it dead?
It was buried.
But how long though? I don't know how long it was in
I
the
don't know actually. There was a
It
date.
died like last year or something like that.
Oh my god. Well, hey, that's not
It
that long
did.
ago. That could be like 2 weeks ago. That's still bad. Don't get me wrong. It's still bad, but it's not that bad.
Even if it was 2 weeks, think about how wrong that is.
What? No.
It's rotted, bruv. It's
Just think
rotted.
about it's a cat. Let's just start with that one. It's a cat. What are you doing?
No, in some cultures and some customs, they eat cat. So, you know,
But they don't do it in
that's
America.
okay, fine. But I don't know, maybe she wants to eat cat, but it's not like it was a fresh cat.
And she wanted to eat some pussy.
Buried.
She could have found that elsewhere.
She what?
If she wanted to eat some pussy, she could have found that elsewhere. But
we're talking about a woman boiling up her zombie cat, and you're thinking about sexual stuff. I'm so perplexed.
Okay, anyway, my point is that what she did is disgusting. The fact that she posted it to go.
I feel like
even worse.
clout is just a drug these days. Like people are doing the most to
That
stay
was not for
relevant.
clout. There was no way that was for clout.
Dude, she called her cat Lucifer.
Yeah, she actually practices dark magics and obia, and obia is that the word for like the practice, or
Yeah, that's
is that
the Haitian word or Jamaican as well. Obia.
Oh, okay. Well, she does all that, and she was she had a cupboard that she was killing chickens in for sacrifice. sacrifices and stuff, didn't she? And then she was cleaning it all up and stuff. So her doing this stuff is not new. I think they just need to send like animal cruelty police over to her house and sort that mess out, because that's not kosher. I don't think they're dying in the correct way. This is just so wrong. What the
I
hell?
just want to know how she got to this point.
I think she's so
I think
bitter inside.
Like, has she always been this like dark and strange, or
look,
strange to me anyway? Has she always been
I'm
this
not.
way, or
I think
The
Azealia
answer to that is
Banks
no.
needs something like help or something. Like she
Do
needs.
you remember when she first came out
Yeah,
though?
she was
Do you remember when Celia first came out? She was like normal.
exactly.
She came out like the same time as ASAP Rocky. I said they were dating, or no, she was part of. She was kind of affiliated with the ASAP Mob, innit? Kind of sort of thing. And she was poppy. She was great. Everyone loved her, and she just seemed very normal. And I think that stardom has taken a real toll on her mentally, and it's just fucked her basically.
I think
And
there is also a lot of anger in her as well, generally. When she talks about other people, especially other female artists, when she calls them names, criticizes their body, etc., etc., it's just she's very angry about the way her career has turned out, I
Let's not
think.
label her angry because that's just falling into a trope. But it is.
Oh, I see what you're
So
saying.
apparently she suffered a lot of physical abuse
Yeah.
and verbal abuse from her mother as a
Oh,
kid,
there we go.
like being hit with baseball bats and
Look,
stuff.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, I'm reading it
Wow.
now.
Well, she needs
I'm
therapy.
not trying to belittle what she's been through, right? But you know, quite a few people go through similar things, and they don't dig up their dead cats,
Yeah, but
boil
people
it into
deal
a
with
stew,
things
and
differently.
eat it, and
Every
eat it.
Nah,
You don't
some
know
of
Wow.
this
what their
sounds
trauma is.
crazy.
Like,
Like she ran away at the age of 14. Her mum threw all the food out the fridge so they can eat. Like this actually sounds kind of crazy. That must have had
look,
like a
well, so she comes from an abusive home,
really abusive.
basically. She had an abusive childhood.
clout
Damn.
is a
Someone,
drug.
someone was from home at 14, starts cooking cats at 30 something.
I don't
Crazy.
think we can single out any one thing to say it's like this is and attribute this to that. I think there's an amalgamation of things going
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah.
And I personally, I actually think Azalea Banks is somebody who needs some help, and I think she's kind of misunderstood in a way. I don't think she's a horrible person in any sort of way. I think she has issues that she has to deal with.
Fair.
You know,
All right. There's
this is just another thing. It's just like,
there's one
wow.
thing that I kind of want to cover off. Did you guys see what happened in America last week?
No, I didn't catch it.
You didn't catch it.
What happened, man?
Right.
I was
So
busy. The struggle was busy.
basically, there was members of the right Qaeda. It's like a faction of ISIS, but made in the south of America. They went to Washington D.C. and took over the Capitol building, which is like their equivalent of our parliament, and was in there for 4 hours. Black Lives
What did the
Matter.
police do?
The police. Oh, some of them took photos of some of
Oh,
them
what?
got crushed. Some of them I even have I said to let them in. Like, but then there were other policemen, to be fair, that did a splendid job, led the groups into like traps and stuff to get caught by police. So, but then yeah, some of it's all just very weird, if that makes sense.
So didn't they like call in the National Guard?
Yeah, they called in the National Guard, but it was far too late.
How many homicides were there? Like, how many people did the police shoot?
4 people. There was a video going around of a one of the domestic terrorists trying to break through to get where to the senators were. The Capitol policeman was like, "Stop! Stay where you are." And she was still trying to climb through the window, and he blasted her, and she died on the spot. And this is sorry, trigger warning. Oh man, I should have gave a trigger
I
warning.
don't like you calling them domestic terrorists. I believe the correct term is patriots.
They're terrorists.
Terrorists is the correct word for me because they try to take over with force. That is terrorism. Try to strike fear into a nation.
I believe these fine patriots accidentally killed a serving policeman as well, which is
Matt,
And
do you
not
watch
cool.
Fox News?
another one.
Is there any other news channel?
That says everything.
There was another police officer who committed suicide after the incident as well. So
Really?
it's 2 police officers who have died. Yeah. And there were some who were very severely injured. Did any of you see the footage of the police officer who was stuck between the door?
Oh, yeah, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, he was literally squeezing and
It
screaming.
was
That's mad.
so incredibly difficult because it looked like the screaming that he was
Yeah.
screaming was intense.
Yeah, he was
I'm
dying.
sure he thought he was going to
Blood was
die.
coming out
I
of his
think
mouth.
he
so
even
knew he was
did, to be honest.
No, he was in hospital. He is recovering, but there were some police who were severely injured
Mate, and the
as
thing
well.
that smashes it is like a lot of these people are of the belief that, you know, police lives matter, blue
Blue
lives
lives
matter,
matter.
and they're
Yeah.
using this as a
Blue lives
counter
matter,
argument
definitely.
to Black Lives Mattering. And
Yeah.
Blue lives matter, except for when you're watching Avatar, in which case, fuck the blue people.
yeah,
But it's funny because one of the people who was rioting, well, one of these terrorists was caught on camera saying to the police line, "We were the ones who defended you. We supported you when nobody liked you, etc." You know, and I think that shows the link between the far right in America and the police force and how insidious it actually
yeah.
is, and how, I mean, we saw some of the policemen waving these guys in. So the policeman, for example, who ran up the stairs, wasn't he a black guy, the one who tried to cause a
Yeah.
distraction?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and apparently he led them away from the door where all of the Congress people, I
He
think
did,
it
yeah.
is.
Literally, it was
Yeah,
seconds
all of the
apart.
ladies were
If
sitting.
he never delayed them, then they would have found them in the
Yeah, and then
the
you've got all
senators in
these
there, and
white
what
police
they would have done was
officers.
crazy.
Yeah, and then you've got all these white police officers not putting their lives in danger in that same way to protect those lawmakers. And they're literally opening the barricades and putting their own colleagues' lives in danger because they sympathize with these terrorists. I mean, America's defund the police is not looking so stupid now. Can we just say that? So
I was watching some videos from political commentators, and not just political commentators, just everybody that I follow essentially on social media that's American has discussed this in some way, shape, or form in the past week. And one of them said that America has really showed their ass this week for what it really is, and I agree with that. And one person said that I forgot his name. I think it's like Van Lathan, something like that. The guy, that bald guy, wears glasses, and he said basically, black people are really confused about that whole situation in the Capitol building because they can be in the park as a kid playing with a toy gun and get shot dead. They could be a father of 5 breaking up a fight between 2 people, completely innocent, and get shot dead. They could be in their car with their pregnant partner and be shot dead.
yeah,
They can be doing all these completely innocent things and be shot dead, but then you've got someone storming one of the most, which a building that should be one of the most heavily protected places in the world, and nothing. And
No,
even the way, even the fact that
nothing. They were actively
or
let.
actively letting them in, but even when you look at it though, right? When you look at it, they had when they were all in the building, they could have got the National Guard to come outside and be like, you know what, nobody leaves, everyone gets arrested, because they said that on this video I watched. It's like when you go to a BLM protest or any protest regarding BLM, you know your chances are you're going to get arrested. At the very least, you're going to spend the night in jail. And they would have coaches literally lined up, buses lined up nearby the protest location for all the people that are going to be arrested with like the plastic ties around their wrists, right? And these people were allowed to leave and go home and eat their dinners or whatever. And I think that some of them were recently found out they were on no-fly lists and stuff like that and were being arrested at airports. But that is nowhere near the same thing as when you're a BLM protester getting the shit kicked out of you on the side of the street when you haven't even done anything. So, and yeah, like I don't, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember hearing about any police officers being killed during the BLM protest. I think there might have been something mad that happened in Seattle when there's I think one of the part of Seattle or something like that was basically just taken over by some random set of people, and I believe some officers died there. But that wasn't a BLM protest. That was something altogether different. But yeah.
Can we talk about how
in times like this, okay, next question. Do you feel like America can go back to, or can America become an experiment where its citizens will ever have a shared vision again?
I think that you're more likely to see in America that it becomes more divided and less united.
It never had a shared vision. That's the thing.
It's had one vision of its oppressor, and that's it.
This is the thing with America, and I actually had this discussion with somebody once about what it means to be an American citizen and how what it means to be an American citizen, to truly be an American citizen, is to include whiteness. You need to be white to be considered fully an American citizen, whether that's overtly said or not. And one of the ways in which they enforce this is by cancelling out all the cultures of all the other people who have helped to build that country up by manufacturing this like American jingoistic identity. And the way in which they do that actively, in my opinion, actually is counterproductive to breeding unity, because if America is all about taking on, it's on the thing, bring me your tired, your weary, your poor, your huddled masses, all of that stuff. It's supposed to be a beacon for the rest of the world's disenfranchised. That was what America was supposed to be. But those disenfranchised people who were there to help build this country up continue to be disenfranchised even while they're there. There's never been that unity, and their cultures and things are washed away. You're supposed to assimilate, etc. And I think by ignoring the rich culture that comes in to make that country what it is, and continue to whitewash their society, they will never have a real unity. Does that make sense? Because their identity is too tied into whiteness, which so many of their population just is not.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point.
It does make sense, but you know what's happened now though is quite simple. And I remember reading up about this because it's linked to some of the laws that they've been trying to pass with regards to abortions. Yeah, and this might be a tin hat theory, I don't know, but essentially in about 20 years or 30 years, it's looking like America will be predominantly minority. If that makes sense. Doesn't make sense, does it? But basically, there'll be more Latinos and more Black people in America than white people, and that is becoming a big issue for the racist white people in the country. They don't want to become a minority, essentially, in inverted commas, their own country. So, so yeah, I think that's part of what's causing all this uprising at the moment, is that they fear that they're becoming,
it's here in the UK
people.
as well. It's
yeah,
here
but
in
the UK doesn't have that sort of issue. Though. The UK is
no, it
by
does
far a
actually.
white country.
Our mixed population is growing.
No, it's if you look at the percentages, it's not even close. In America, it's like 40% or something like that right now, minority, whereas over here it's like what, 70% white or something like that.
I'm not saying we're at the same levels yet, but we will get there.
I don't
It
know if
Mm.
we will. I
Because
don't know.
you
It's
have to
possible.
remember,
But
sentiment is building. That's
America
what I'm rotating
imported
about.
loads and loads of different color, or people of color from like West Africa, and obviously these people settled in America and have been there for generations and are by right Americans now. So
man, you're right with what you're saying. But the joke is this here, Manny. America brought in all these people so that America could get richer. That's why
yeah,
they did it. They brought in black slaves. They brought in Chinese slaves. They brought in Mexican people, essentially working for next to nothing on their farmlands in the southern states. Right? They have all this coming in, and then they want to go on now like they don't want it. If every black person, every Chinese person, Chinese people got a different sort of status than American, I don't know, but if every Latino person left America, the country wouldn't be able to survive. It's the same way if over here we just got rid of all the Eastern Europeans, this country wouldn't run properly. Look at this year. They had to fly in people from Romania to pick the strawberries. Like, what?
Anyway, I think we're getting really off topic now. But the point, no, we aren't
It's
actually.
not even off topic. That's fully related to this whole thing.
No,
It's all
it
about
is,
race
isn't it? We're not talking about the
and
outcome.
discrimination. But yeah,
Yeah, but I think the thing with America is their civil war never really ended. It's been been a proxy war through their governmental systems this whole time. Do you see what I'm saying? Through their two parties, it never ended. The South and the North have been fighting forever.
the two
It's
parties are
just
the same
it's
thing. That's
reached
the
a
truth of the
boiling
matter.
point at the
The
moment.
Democrats are only there to allow the Republicans to carry on doing what they want to do. What Donald Trump is doing right now, that is not actually what the Republicans want. The Republicans don't want a civil war. They don't want um,
There
any
is a
sort of
faction
mad.
that does.
They don't want friction. Friction doesn't make the country money. They don't want that. But the
No,
Democrats and the
there
Republicans are the
is a
same thing.
faction. I think you underestimate a faction. There is a
Yeah,
substantial
yeah.
group
I'm
that
not saying that there isn't a fraction of people that want to have a big like civil war and just kill all the blacks. I'm not saying that's not true, but I'm saying the Republican Party as a whole doesn't want that because there's a bunch of billionaires there that just want to keep their billions. In a country that goes to war, that's not going to be good for the economy. So
actually that's wrong because their military-industrial complex is massive for them.
a,
War is
a
money.
civil war
I don't think
means
that's
that
the
they're
issue.
no. No, war makes America a lot of money
Obviously,
when it's
overseas
overseas,
war is
not
different to
not
civil
when it's
war.
inside their own country. I don't
I
know. That's
get
not
that.
that's
I
not a
get
money
that.
making
But
exercise.
I don't. No, I think there has been a war waged against the minorities in America
Yeah,
over
there
the
has
decades.
been, but it's not been a
That's what I'm
military
saying.
war.
Proxy war. There has been a proxy civil war going on in this country forever. It never ended. So I think there is a much bigger sentiment where people are happy to look. There are people in that country who would be happy to take it back to Jim Crow and apartheid. They might not want
No
a
one's
whole blown
disputing that.
house. No, hold on. They might not want a full blown civil war, but they would be happy to put minorities back into their
Yeah, but that's not going to
entitled
happen now
place.
because minorities almost outnumber them, so it's not really possible to do that.
Well, obviously, and that's why they're panicking and freaking out. I get that.
one last
So
question:
anyway,
so again, like following world politics, even though this is a music podcast, just to cover it off once for
Sorry, I should have said the military-industrial complex, the gun manufacturers.
yeah.
Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
So looking at the politics, it looks like black people have basically given the Democrats everything they've wanted in this election
hmm
season. They've given them the Senate, and
hmm
they gave them Senate by providing them the two
president.
Georgia seats. They gave them um, this country by turning up and voting. Do you feel now is a time where politics will now work in the favor of African Americans?
No, no. It's not, if Biden's already coming out and saying stuff now, that suggests that he's not really going to do anything to change anything. There's going to be no change in
Well,
America. There's not going to be any change. Not in this presidential round, not in this next 4 years, not in this next 8 years. If there's going to be any change, it might come in 20, 30, 40 years' time. But there's not going to be any real change. Like, during this period. It's going to be the same shit as before. Like even Obama couldn't really change anything. Like when there were all these police shootings, when there was the shooting in the school, Sandy Hook, and how many kids died,
No,
he
but
still didn't ban the
disagree. I
gun.
disagree.
They can't do
No,
nothing
I
to stop it.
disagree. I think before the events of last week, I would have 100% agreed with you. Biden was doing what, the little sort of tokenistic things that they do. They put in certain people in their cabinet, to make it more woman friendly, more minority friendly, whatever. They were doing all of that stuff. A lot of progressives, however, have made gains in America in congressional seats and things like that across the country. So Biden might not have been able to do very much, but there are progressives in local communities who are able to do things. People like AOC, for example. And also, it's not really Biden. A lot of people are saying, and I agree with this, if it's not really Biden's presidency, it's more Kamala Harris's. But obviously her track record is appalling anyway. So
How is it
yeah,
not?
of
How is
course.
it not Biden's problem?
A lot of people,
She is the one who's
a lot of
go on,
people
Manny.
have a theory that Biden's going to leave halfway through and provide
To give it to Kamala, okay.
Kamala,
Yeah. People
She said,
people said the same thing about Trump and Pence as well, to be fair. I said it, and that turned out to be very well. I don't see Biden just
I
giving up
said
power
that about
halfway
Trump
through.
and Pence.
He just to pop his clogs for that to happen. But
Well, I think that's the thing though, because he is much older, and also because of how pressing the issues are at the moment with Black Lives Matter, with what has just happened. I think that he was going to give Kamala as much leeway as possible to lead anyway, where she could as a vice president. But with what's happened, I think that there is now going to be this has been very counterproductive for the Republican Party. I don't know if they're going to even be able to win an election for a couple of generations. I mean,
nah, they'll win the next one. They'll win after Biden,
I'll
most
definitely
likely.
have to Biden.
No, there are a lot of Republican Americans, commentators, who are saying that they think their own party is now dead and it will
Nah,
have to splinter.
all they need to do is get someone, get a celebrity to run for them.
Name more celebrities.
Literally, I think what you will what you will see now is a few celebrities starting to step up to the plate. I think I had a discussion before again in my uni mates about Kim Kardashian becoming president of the United States. If she runs for the presidency as a Republican, the first thing that people are going to say is, no, we don't want a woman to be running the country. And they'll say, oh, she's a foreigner. But then she'll win them over. And Kim Kardashian has a crazy
Kim Kardashian would run
fan
as a
base.
Republican
She can do it.
anyway.
Listen, I'm sorry, they're not going to vote
I think
for
she would run as wherever she will be picked as
America
as
will
their
not
choice.
vote for a president who has a sex tape. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, they're not going to vote for Kim
You
Kardashian.
really think
She's
so?
a
Okay.
woman with a fake
I'm
arm.
glad this is
She's a
being
woman. I'm not
recorded
being
and being
funny,
put down.
but
This
religion over there is
is the
something
19th
serious.
EarSauce podcast, and I will be going back to this one in 8 years' time to tell everyone that I said that Kim Kardashian will become president of the United States, or
You do that.
at
It's
least
not
some
gonna
other
happen.
celebrity. There will be a celebrity president.
But you know what? Yeah, that's fine. If it happens, I will eat my words. But I'm telling you, it's not going to happen.
All right.
She doesn't even have the necessary experience at this stage of her
Oh
life.
yeah, because
to be-
Trump did. You know that Trump isn't the first celebrity president in the United States, right?
Ronald Reagan.
Wait, you realize that Trump isn't the first. He's not the first celebrity president. There'll be others, and I think that it will happen again soon. Because you know what, we are in the age of celebrity now. With social media and stuff like that, these celebrities are able to engage with their audiences in a completely unfiltered way. And if someone came across here in such a way that seemed genuine, that was really engaging with people, they would win.
Well, can I just
even Kanye West, with his joke of a submission, he even managed to get quite a few thousand people vote for him. I think he got something like 4% on the vote, or something like 2% on the vote, and he wasn't even serious.
I think what happened last week has been very counterproductive for the Republicans, because now there's a power imbalance because of this insurrection. I think it's going to give
People
Kamala
will
Harris
vote for the
and Biden
Republicans. Yeah,
a lot more political
people vote for
power.
Republicans.
Hold on, a lot more
They just won't say it.
capital and sway to be able to do what they wanted to do. I think
People
they'll be able to do more now because people are so disgusted in
people
their
will vote for
society.
the Republicans, but they just won't admit it. They'll just do it. They'll be like, no, I'm voting them. I'm voting
So
them,
it's back
and
to
they'll
my
vote
point
Republicans.
earlier about there being a lot of Americans who would low-key vote for Trump and be
Yeah.
quite happy
And they
to go
did.
back to jail.
Millions of people voted for
But
Trump
guys,
just now. Did they
I
not?
think you guys, this is the problem. Like, you guys are digging deep. Like, really and truly, it shouldn't be about parties. And I think we have the same problem in the UK. Like, it should be,
UK's problem is worse than American,
to be fair,
right?
like, it should be more about policies. And I hope sooner rather than later, we can start looking at politics from
Let,
a policy-based
Manny,
way.
But this is the
Manny.
thing,
Let's
I
put
know
it this
what
way, Manny. Let's
you're
put it this
talking
way.
about.
If
No,
you want
you're
to see,
talking about
if you want
tribalism.
to see real
Hold
change,
on, hold on.
if you want to see real
I
change in
actually don't
America,
support.
right?
I don't. Let me make my point, man. I don't support the Democrats. American Democrats, to me, are actually right wing.
They're not.
I don't
Oh yes,
support
they
them.
are. They are right wing.
To me, they are. I mean, they're
They're
what is it?
both
Republicans
right
are.
wing. Both parties are the same ring. Okay, but this is
Yeah,
the point I'm
they're
making
just.
here.
It's like
If there was going to be real
light.
change, if there was going to be real change in American politics, yeah, that they would either scrap or renegotiate the electoral college system, because that just completely fucks everything. But I would say
It
we are
does.
going well off track for our music podcast. So yeah,
I told you we need to do different segments and do other
Yeah, no,
discussions. Look at how long we've
sweet.
discussed this
Anyway,
one topic.
but
this
it's
is
not
important
music.
to be
People treat it for
covered
music.
here. And who
I agree. I think this is a
who better to
monumental
cover it
thing we
than
need
us,
to talk
right?
about.
Cool guys. This is the end of the pod. Please follow us on Instagram, EarSauce_. Follow us on Twitter, EarSauce_. If you have any new music that you'd like us to review, please send it in. We're gonna try and start bringing on musical guests onto the show, just to quiz them, ask them about their journey. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And what else do we have in 2021? Yeah, just more of the same: bands, laughs, giggles. Share us with your mates and stay safe, stay blessed. You can follow me, Emmanuel Yates90, on Twitter. Matt.
Hey there. My Instagram is at Mr_Matty Lee, and my Twitter is at Mr. Matty Lee.
Ollie.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at OCClark_10.
Af.
I am earsource.afia on Twitter and Insta.
Boom. Alright guys, thank you very much for joining us. It's been wicked. Catch you again next week. Hopefully some new music will drop. Brap. See you later.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
EarSauce.